لك كيدا إن الشيطان للإنسان عدو مبين الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على رسول الله وآله الأطهار على رسول الله وآله الأطهار صلوات
Just King, everyone lamenting, every heart is aching, commencing the walking, the flags are reciting, Karbala. Starting from the Just King, everyone lamenting, every heart is aching, commencing the walking, the flags are reciting, Karbala. Complaint for you, although in this complaint there is much honor. The lineage of your killers is repeating Karbala for your lovers, is repeating Karbala for your lovers. Your Zainab is imprisoned. Come and see the shrine of Hassan. Our hopes are all in your land, in between the moon and the sun. In hope of Allah, holding onto Karbala. Sallallahu alayk, O Sultan of Karbala, O Sultan of Karbala. In the end I will reach you, I will see those sweet views, standing in between two. Then when I close my two eyes, you are in these dreams too. Starting from the Just King, everyone lamenting, every heart is aching, commencing the walking, the flags are reciting Karbala. Starting from the Just King, everyone lamenting, every heart is aching, commencing the walking, the flags are reciting Karbala. A complaint for you, although in this complaint there is much honor. The lineage of your killers is repeating Karbala for your lovers, is repeating Karbala for your lover. Your dear Zainab is imprisoned. Come and see the shrine of Hassan. Our hopes are all in your land, in between the moon and the sun. The rope of Allah holding onto Karbala. Sultan of Karbala, oh Sultan of Karbala. In the end I will reach you, I will see those sweet views, standing in between two. Then when I close my two eyes, you are in these dreams too. Starting from the just king, everyone lamenting, every heart is aching. Commencing the walking, the flags are reciting Karbala. Starting from the just king, everyone lamenting, every heart is aching. Commencing the walking, the flags are reciting Karbala. From the just king, everyone lamenting, every heart is aching. Commencing the walking, the flags are reciting Karbala. Have a complaint for you, although in this complaint there is much honor. The lineage of your killers is repeating Karbala for your lovers, is repeating Karbala for your lovers. Your dear Zainab is imprisoned. Come and see the shrine of Hassan. Our hopes are all in your land, in between the moon and the sun. Onto Karbala, sallallahu alayk, oh Sultan of Karbala, oh Sultan of Karbala. In the end I will reach you, I will see those sweet views.
على حب الحسين صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله وعلى أهل بيتك المظلومين. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة، يا غريب يا شهيد كربلاء. فيا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. I begin in the name of the Almighty God, the Compassionate, the Merciful, the one who has created everything in utmost perfection. And may the peace and blessings of the Almighty God be upon His pure and beloved messenger, the peak of His creation, the symbol of humanity, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alih. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And his immaculate progeny of the Ahlul Bayt, peace be upon them, especially the leader of our time, the awaited Savior, Al-Imam Al-Mahdi, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajah. May Allah hasten His reappearance and make us all amongst His sincere and dedicated servants. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in the Holy Quran in Surah Ibrahim verse 10, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, قالت رسلهم أفي الله شك فاطر السماوات والأرض. The messengers said to their people, is there any doubt about the existence of God, the one who created the heavens and the earth? Sadaqallahul Aliyyul Azim. Illuminate your hearts and minds with a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala The greatest gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us is the gift of faith. When you examine the religion of Islam and you come to know the depths and the layers that God has given us in this beautiful religion, you will be astonished. You will be mesmerized. One of the beautiful aspects of our faith is the rich laws that we have. The laws that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us in the religion of Islam are very dynamic, very versatile. They have beautiful applications. Knowing these applications allows us to appreciate our faith and our religion. In the Holy Quran, there are more than 500 verses that contain legal rulings. The Quran has many types of verses. Some of them are stories, so we learn from. Some of them describe the day of judgment. Some of them give us advice about this life, past civilizations, describing the scientific world. But you have over 500 verses that contain laws. We have thousands of hadith that give us thousands of laws. The Quran gives us the general guidelines, but these beautiful narrations give us the specifics of the law. Now, some people find this burdensome. I'm surrounded by all these laws in the religion of Islam. This is burdensome. There's a long list of do's and don'ts, conditions, requirements, criteria. That bothers some people. The aim of Islamic laws is to protect your rights. The aim of Islamic laws is to protect your connection with your Lord. The aim of Islamic laws is for you to maintain a healthy relationship with your family members, with your friends, with your neighbors, with your fellow citizens. That is the aim of these laws. Laws that are aimed at your protection are beautiful laws. They are laws that we should appreciate. They are laws that we should celebrate. They are the gifts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us. If you compare first world countries to third world countries, you will find a striking difference in the number of laws that they have. Who do you think has more laws? First world countries or third world countries? No, wrong. That's what you would think, right? You'd think that third world countries have all these annoying laws and rulings and regulations. That's not the case. First world countries, countries that are considered free societies, democracies, they actually have more laws than third world countries. You know, here in the United States, in 20 years, between 1995 and the end of 2016, about 21 years, there were 88,891 federal regulations and rules that were issued. How many? 88,889. And during this period, 4,312 laws were legislated, official laws. There are more than 50,000 laws in the United States of America. Far more than many third world countries combined. The philosophy behind many of these laws is to protect your rights. To protect the rights of citizens, the rights of corporations, the rights of businesses. We have all types of rights in society. Laws that protect your rights are good laws. They shouldn't be laws that burden us. They should not be laws that disturb us. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us so many laws in the religion of Islam, to protect our well-being. Exploring these laws and the applications of these laws will allow you to appreciate the gift of faith and religion that Allah has given you. A sister once told me she had signed up for an Islamic law class that we had offered a few years ago here. She said this class, which is not about spirituality, it's about law. This class changed my life. I became more practicing. I feel now closer to Allah because now I appreciate the depth of laws that we have in our religion. In our discussion tonight, I will be sharing with you one fascinating law that the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam have taught us. This single law can change your life. It's a legal ruling, but it has wide-reaching applications. We as followers of Ahlul Bayt must be educated about our laws. The Imams of Ahlul Bayt had so much respect for youth who would sacrifice their time and comfort to come and learn these laws. There's nothing that you can do that brings you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than to deepen your knowledge and increase your knowledge. One very beautiful hadith from the Imam alayhi salam states, if you go to a place of learning, if you leave your house going someplace to learn about your religion, Allah dispatches His great angels to lower their wings for you. They pray for you. They ask Allah to forgive you. And the hadith states, in the past, sometimes people had to take treacherous journeys to go and learn. Today, you just turn on your screen and learn. It's very easy. It's very accessible. Not back then. The hadith told people, if you die on the way, going to learn, you will die as a shaheed. You will die as a martyr in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine this great honor that Allah has given you for learning laws, for learning the Quran, for learning about the akhirah, the final destination. How much time do we spend on that? Believe me, some of us, when we go to a 1-week vacation, we spend 50 hours researching. Where should I go? How can I get the cheapest flights, the best flights? Which hotel should I stay at? I know some people, they'll spend 2-3 weeks examining 200 hotels, reading every single review. What are the attractions there? Which restaurants should I go to? I spent 50-60 hours researching a trip that takes 1 week. But there's a trip that has no duration. It's infinite. That final destination, that final trip. How much research do I do for that final trip? The trip of the akhirah. The Imams of Ahlul Bayt encourage us to learn about our laws. They bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These laws liberate you, they don't burden you. A true believer who appreciates the depth of these laws, and he knows that Allah has legislated them, not people who change their minds every other day. Allah has given you these laws. These are divine gifts. I appreciate them. In fact, I feel excited when I'm observing the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of these beautiful laws is what is called the law of continuity. In Arabic, we call this istishab. Scholars in the seminaries, they spend decades examining this single law. The description of this law is the following: do not negate certainty with doubt. لا تنقض اليقين أبدا بالشك. This law is derived from an authentic report from Al-Imam Al-Sadiq alayhi salam. The one who narrates this hadith is one of the students of Al-Imam Al-Sadiq. His name is Zurara ibn A'yan. Zurara was a scholar. Zurara has narrated over 2,200 hadiths. Our legal system today would not be the way it is without the efforts of Zurara. To the point that Al-Imam Al-Sadiq alayhi salam praised him. Al-Imam Al-Sadiq said, if it weren't for Zurara and a few other companions, our legacy, the legacy of Ahlul Bayt would have been gone, would not have been preserved. It's the likes of Zurara who preserved the legacy of Ahlul Bayt. Sometimes we have to remember these heroes in our history. Many of us don't even know who's Zurara. Many of the laws that you practice today, if you're practicing, they come from hadiths narrated by Zurara. He was a scholar. In one hadith, Al-Imam Al-Sadiq alayhi salam describes him as being the trustee of God's religion on earth. What an amazing title an imam can give to someone. Zurara asks Al-Imam Al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he tells him, يَكُونُ الرَّجُلُ عَلَى الْوُضُوءِ أَتُوجِبُ الْخَفْقَةُ وَالْخَفْقَتَانِ عَلَيْهِ الْوُضُوءِ. He asks a very simple question. A person is on wudu. He knows that he's on tahara, on purity. He's done the ablution. Then he asks the Imam alayhi salam, if this person dozes off once or twice, he is falling asleep, does that break his wudu or not? He's asking the Imam alayhi salam. The Imam, in answering him, gives him a very beautiful principle. He gives him a ruling. That's the beauty of the school of Ahlul Bayt. The Imams wouldn't just answer a specific question. They'd give you the rule, the law. How does the law work? What's the principle here? The Imam alayhi salam teaches him this law. Do not negate certainty with doubt. You have certainty that you did wudu. Now you doubt whether you invalidated the wudu or not. You don't know if you fully slept or not. You dozed off, but your mind may be still awake. You can still hear noises around you. Your eyes fell asleep for a second. You don't know if you fully slept. The Imam says, consider yourself on wudu. Because you have previous certainty that you did wudu. Now you do not know whether you actually slept or not. You don't know that. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. As long as it's a doubt, it's not yaqeen. The Imam states, لا تنقض اليقين أبدا بالشك. Never negate certainty with doubt. This is a beautiful principle that the Imam gives Zurara. ولكن أنقضه بيقين آخر. If you have another certainty, you can negate the previous one. Yes, I know for sure I slept. Okay, I lost my wudu. I need to redo my wudu. This is called the law of continuity. It's a fascinating law that has amazing legal applications, theological applications, psychological applications, family applications. When you look at the depth and the richness of the school of Ahlul Bayt, truly you will be in awe, mesmerized and thankful to Allah and humbled before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will share with you 5 brief fiqhi legal applications, and then we will consider the theological, psychological, and family applications of this beautiful law. Our scholars in the seminaries, they spend decades extracting thousands of laws from this one hadith. 4 words: don't negate certainty with doubt. From 4 words, the Imams of Ahlul Bayt have given us a principle that our scholars are able to extract thousands of laws. And that is truly fascinating. The first application is the question of adala or justice. In Islamic law, for certain cases to be accepted, a person has to be just, adil. Adala means that the person is practicing, they're upright, they try to be pious. They're not infallible. Only the Ahlul Bayt are infallible. But they are practicing, they are observing. When it comes to the Salat al-Jama'ah, the congregational prayer, one of the conditions in the school of Ahlul Bayt is for the prayer leader to be adil, to be just. You can't just hayallah pray behind anyone. You have to make sure that the person that you're praying behind is practicing, is upright, doesn't openly commit sins. This person is adil. Al-Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam in one hadith teaches us, he says, you're putting this person between you and God in salah. The person has to be practicing, has to be upright. When it comes to cases of divorce, for instance, in our school of thought, in order for a divorce to be valid, when the divorce statement is said, there must be 2 witnesses who are just, who witness this divorce being verbalized. وَأَشْهِدُوا ذَوَيْ عَدْلٍ مِنْكُمْ, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in the Holy Quran. So we have this issue of justice, of adala, of being upright. How do we apply this law here? Let's say you know this person was just, they were upright. Then you develop a doubt later. I don't know if this person lost his adala or not. Did this person become sinful or not? Did he lose that status of being upright and practicing or not? You don't know. Let's say you have a friend who's adil, and then he goes on a vacation to Cancun. Now, you could have a halal vacation there, sure, but you suspect maybe your friend did some very disturbing things there. You have evidence? I don't have evidence. It's just a doubt. What did he do there for a week? I'm sure he must have done some haram things. He comes back. Can you pray behind him? Why can you pray behind him? Per this law. The Imam says you have previous certainty. Before he went on this vacation, you were sure that he was just, he was upright, he was practicing. Now you don't know. You assume this person to still be just unless you have new certainty. Unless you have yaqeen that this person lost that status. As long as you don't have such yaqeen, you continue the previous state. That's the law of continuity. That's one application. Another very interesting application is brain death. Today, there is a discussion among scholars as to what constitutes death. The vast majority of scholars tell you brain death, from an Islamic perspective, does not constitute death. We're not sure if the person is really dead, if they have been declared brain dead, but they have a heartbeat. This means that you can't take them off the machine if they're on life support. This means, for instance, their vital organs cannot be donated because the person's still alive, they have a heartbeat. How are you going to take their heart and donate it? Some scholars say no. Our understanding is that brain death constitutes death. It's a discussion among scholars. Those scholars who say that brain death does not constitute full death, they have several arguments to prove their point. One of their arguments is the law of continuity. They will tell you that minutes before this person was declared brain death, don't we have certainty that this person was alive? We have yaqeen, we have certainty that this person was alive. Now that this person has been pronounced as brain dead, we have a doubt. Is this person fully dead? Did the full separation of the soul happen or no? The scholar will say, I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. It's not that clear. So I go to this principle, do not negate certainty with doubt. You were certain that this person was alive. Now you doubt whether they actually died. Continue that previous state and consider the person to be alive. Treat him as if he or she is alive. This is one argument that they've used to prove their point. Look at the beautiful different applications of one single law, of 4 words from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. A third legal application is whether gelatin is halal or not. Many of you wonder, right? Is gelatin halal? Is it haram? Maraja have different rulings over here. If the gelatin is taken from a haram source, from let's say a cow that has not been slaughtered halal, is the gelatin halal or not? There's a discussion among scholars. Some say yes, some say no. Those who say no, what's their evidence? Those who will tell you that gelatin from a haram source is not halal, what's their evidence? One evidence is the law of continuity. Don't negate certainty with doubt. I know that this product over here, this substance over here, that's taken from the bones, from the cartilage, this collagen over here, I know that it was najis, it was haram. Because when the animal was slaughtered not the halal way, all of its parts are haram for you to consume. Now it went through a process and it became gelatin. I don't know whether this process fully transformed this substance into a completely new substance. I don't know that. This is not proven to me. So the law of continuity says, don't negate that previous certainty with doubt. Assume this to be najis. Assume it to be haram. I need evidence that something completely transformed. Sometimes it's clear. You have a carcass that's najis, and then let's say it's burned, it turns into ashes. Are the ashes pure or not? If the carcass was najis. Let's say a dog, the carcass of a dog is burned. And then you have ashes. Are those ashes pure or not? Yes, they're pure. Why? Because they transformed into a completely new substance. Wine turning into vinegar. We have hadiths that say it becomes pure and you can eat, you can drink it, you can use it. Why? It transformed into a new substance. So when you know that it transformed into a new substance, a scholar will tell you this is halal, this is pure. But if I don't know whether this actually transformed into a completely new substance, a scholar will tell you the law of continuity tells you assume the previous state. If the previous state was haram and najasa, continue that state. This is another application. A fourth and fifth application has to do with sunrise and sunset. You wake up at 6:10 a.m. You're not sure, is my salah qadha or not? I don't know, I don't have a clock, my clock is not accurate, I don't have a prayer timetable next to me, I can't determine it. I don't know if the time has expired. What does the law of continuity tell you here? Don't negate certainty with doubt. Do you pray Salat al-Fajr, Ada in time, or do you pray it Qadha out of time? What do? You pray it in time. Why? Because you know 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, definitely when it was darker, you were still in time. You doubt whether the time expired, so you assume you're still in time. Don't negate that certainty with a doubt. The fifth application is the opposite application. You're fasting in the month of Ramadan. It's 9 p.m. and you're really hungry and you're out of patience. You're looking at that lentil soup, you're looking at that milukhiyah, and you can't resist. But you don't know at 9 p.m. am I out of time or no? Do I still have to fast? Is it time for Maghrib yet? I don't know. I'm not sure. What does the law of continuity tell you over here? Don't negate certainty with that. You know 10 minutes ago you still had to fast, it was day. Now you doubt whether sunset actually occurred or Maghrib actually occurred. Continue that previous state. That means you have to keep fasting until you have yaqeen, certainty, I can break my fast right now. This is a beautiful application of this law. And there are thousands and thousands and thousands of other applications. Appreciate the depth and the richness that the Imams of Ahlul Bayt have given us. Not only does this law have applications in the legal sphere, but it also has applications at a theological level, psychological level, and family levels. Let's briefly examine these categories. The Prophet said to their people about God and having doubts about God, قَالَتْ رُسُلُهُمْ أَفِي اللَّهِ شَكٌّ فَاطِرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. As believers, it's completely natural to go through doubts. There are some people, they get really scared when they have a doubt. If they doubt God's existence or some aspect of God's attributes, is God powerful? Is He knowledgeable? Is He just? Some people lose their faith. Oh my God, I'm not a believer anymore. I doubted that. No, it's okay, you're a believer. As long as you're concerned about your doubt, the Prophet says you're a believer. Don't consider yourself not to be a believer. This is one of the tactics of shaitan. He wants you to think that you're not a believer, so you give up your faith. It's completely normal for some believers to have doubts, even about God's existence. What's important is to address the doubt. Sometimes we have doubts about the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes we have doubts about whether God is really going to be there for us. If Allah is going to help me out of my misery. Many people lose that faith. How do you address such a doubt when you are experiencing it? Resort to this law. Do not negate certainty with doubt. There are many people who go through difficult trials in life. A very difficult divorce. A difficult disease that you have to deal with. A difficult financial crisis that strikes you. Some people collapse. Some people become lonely. They become depressed. I know some people, they become suicidal. Why me? Why did God do this to me? What's happening? I feel like the world is falling apart. The universe is falling apart. Nothing makes sense. Whenever you experience a doubt like that, resort to what you know, to the certainty that you have. That's how you address the doubt and build confidence and strength in your heart and mind. This is how you talk to yourself. This is how you find that certainty. Tell yourself, I don't understand why I'm experiencing this trial. I don't get it. I don't know why. But I do know one thing. I do know one thing. If there's one thing I know in the universe, it's this. God knows what He's doing. Just look at the world around you. Look at the universe. Every atom knows what to do. Plants know what to do. Insects know what to do. The solar system knows what to do. Black holes know what to do. You don't think Allah has a system? You don't think He knows what He's doing? Look at His design. Look at the complexity of His design. Yes, I don't know why I'm going through this disease, through this divorce, through this problem, through this difficulty. But I do know that Allah has a reason for everything. It's okay. I do know that I have a Lord who has a system. I do know that He's knowledgeable. I know that He's just. I know that He's wise. Hold on to this certainty, my dear brothers and sisters. This certainty will empower you. This certainty will lift you out of your misery. Yes, I can't explain what's going on. I can't. I really cannot explain it. But I do know that Allah knows the philosophy behind it. I do know that God has a system and He has a way out for me. Don't lose hope. Hold on to that certainty. Sometimes we doubt the power of God, the knowledge of God. And Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, in a beautiful hadith, he says, when you feel shaitan is creating these doubts in you, confront him. خاصموه. Yes, the Imam says, confront him. بما ظهر لكم من قدرة الله. Hold on to the certainty that you have. Some things you may not be able to explain. I know some people, because of some very simple philosophical problems, they started doubting God and His power. I remember a brother who almost lost his faith when his philosophy teacher told him about this problem. It's a very classical philosophical dilemma question about God. Can God create a rock so heavy that He cannot lift? Think about it. Can God create a rock so heavy that He can't lift? If you say yes, you're doomed. That means yes, He can create it and He can't lift it. If you say no, you're doomed. No, God cannot do that. So God has no power then. Don't tell me God is all powerful. There are some things He can't do. Or like the person, the genius who said, can God make 2 + 2 = 5? Yeah, let's see His power. Let Him make 2 + 2 = 5. I know some people, they'll start having doubts. That's true. God can't do that. Or like the person who said to the Imam, can God create another God? Can God annihilate Himself? All these philosophical questions, right? The Imam says when you have doubts like that, hold on to what you know, to your yaqeen, to your certainty. When you look at the universe, you know that Allah has knowledge. You know that Allah has power. You just don't know how to explain this philosophical problem. It's okay, don't lose your faith. Hold on to your yaqeen. Don't let this doubt negate your certainty. Research. Now, for those of you who are wondering the answers to these questions, I know that's going to be on your mind and you will not focus with me until I give you the answer. The limitation is not on God's power. The limitation is with the case and the supposition itself. Let me give you a very brief example. Who here knows how to swim? Who here is an excellent swimmer? Okay. Yalla, tfaddal, swim right now. Can you swim? No? I thought you just said you're a good swimmer. There's no water. So is the limitation from you or from your surrounding? It's from your surrounding. Bring a heavyweight champion who can take a rock and throw it 100 yards. Tell him, Habibi, throw this feather. How far is this feather going to go? What, a yard, a couple of yards? Is the limitation in the heavyweight champion, in his muscles, or is the limitation in the feather? See, the feather, because of air resistance, it doesn't have the capacity to go that far. The problem is not in the muscles that are trying to throw them. The answer to these questions is that they don't have the capacity to exist. 2 plus 2, given that it's only 2, it doesn't have the capacity to be 5. The limitation is not from God. The limitation is from the number itself. 2 says, I'm 2, I'm not 3. I can't become 5 if you add me to another 2. I can't. I don't have the power. I don't have the capacity. Not Allah. Go back to your yaqeen. That's how you address many doubts, my dear brothers and sisters. One reason why so many people lose their iman and they lose their faith is the problem of evil. Why is there evil in this universe? I see kids born with defects, disabilities, wars, evil, problem. Why doesn't God stop any of this? Some people give up their faith. I was once on an airplane coming back from Canada when a Canadian lady saw me in my attire and she started asking questions about Islam. She was intrigued about the religion of Islam. She told me, I don't believe in God. I was born a Catholic, my parents are Christians, but I don't believe in God. I told her, do you mind if I ask you why? She said, sure, I'll tell you why. When I see all this evil in this world, I see kids dying, acts of murder, I can't accept there is a merciful God up there. You claim that God is more merciful than our parents? Which parent can save their children and they don't save them? Which parent does that? I'm not going to accept this God. So I told her, are you interested in our response? She was like, sure, of course. And she was highly educated. She had a PhD. I gave her a very simple example. I told her, have you ever taken a multiple choice exam? She's like, sure, of course. What does this have to do with my question? I told her, wait, bear with me. I told her, how does this test work? How does a multiple choice exam work? She said, well, obviously, there's a question and then usually 4 options to choose from, A, B, C, D. I told her, out of these 4, how many is right? She said, obviously 1. I said, what about the rest? She said, the rest are wrong answers. I told her, who put these wrong answers in the exam? It's like, obviously, the professor. I did a little bit of acting here. I told her, shame on that professor. Shame on that professor. Shouldn't professors teach us facts? Teach us truth? Why is a professor putting wrong answers in a test? A wrong answer is evil. A wrong answer is false. Why would you put false information in a test? Shame on those teachers. She froze. She knew where I was going with this. She told me, that's the first time in my life I hear an example like that. I told her, it's not fair for you to say there's no God because there is evil. Yes, an appropriate question is why? Why would He allow it? What's the system? What's the philosophy behind it? Is it to compensate them? Is it to try them? Is it for us not to be attached to this world because He has a better world waiting for us? There are many, many beautiful reasons why Allah allows for suffering. Even though it's painful, but subhanAllah, Allah has hidden His treasures in suffering. A father about 6 years ago, here, at the IIA, I was either going to Salah or after Salah, he came to me. 6 years ago. He told me, Sayyid, I have a disabled child. He's 16. When you look at his child looks like he's 5 months old. He can't grow. He's stuck in the body of an infant. But he's 16 years old. He told me, Sayyid, this has been the greatest trial of my life. Me and my wife, we collapsed. Why did God do this for us? Why? Ya Allah, why me? Why this poor thing? We almost lost faith. But I want to tell you something. Now, 16 years later, every single day, I thank Allah for blessing me with such a child. This disabled child who can't speak, who can't walk, taught me what love means. Taught me what sacrifice means. Every single day, I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when I look at the purity and the innocence of my child on the Day of Judgment doesn't have to answer to a single sin. He's never bothered anyone. He's never wronged anyone. He's never gossiped, backbitten. He's never encroached on the rights of anyone. Pure, just a pure creation of Allah. I'm honored to go through this trial. Allahu Akbar. What kind of iman sometimes Allah gives to certain people. And they live with us. They're in our communities. They're everywhere. Hold on to that yaqeen whenever you feel burdened by the difficulties of dunya. Know that Allah is there for you. One aspect in our life that takes away our sleep is the fear of the future. The fear of the future. What's going to happen to the economy? What's going to happen in the future? I know a father who once told me, he has a daughter. He told me, Sayyid, I don't sleep at night. I told him, why, Habibi? You're okay. What's the problem? He told me, Sayyid, I don't know how my daughter is going to get married. Who's going to marry her? Is he going to be good to her or not? Will she be poor or not? I can't sleep. We lose so much sleep when it comes to the future. Whenever you find yourself in this state, hold on to your yaqeen. I told this brother, I told this guy, I told him, Habibi, didn't you get married? And alhamdulillah, you have a good marital life. Didn't Allah take care of you? Didn't He take care of your mom, your dad, your aunts, your great-grandparents, your grandparents? What makes you think Allah is going to throw away your girl, your daughter, and abandon her? What makes you think that? Just hold on to your yaqeen. Allah has been good to you. It's okay. What makes you think you're going to lose that? Sometimes we panic. What's going to happen in the future? Am I going to be homeless? Am I going to sleep on the street? Habibi, when did you sleep on the street? Ever in your life for you to have such a doubt? Especially for those of you who are here in this community, in this country, the blessings Allah has given you, believe me, billions of people don't have. The freedom that you have to come here and commemorate the legacy of Imam Hussein. Many people around the world don't have this freedom. The access to resources that you have here, billions of people don't have access to these resources. Just sometimes read about what happens in other parts of the world. It's very humbling to us, my dear brothers and sisters. There is a striking article, a very moving article in the New York Times. I invite you all to read it, my dear brothers and sisters. It will change your life. The title of the article is Borrowed Time from a Disappearing Land. It was published on March 28, 2014. It talks about a family in Bangladesh. The story of a woman called Mrs. Khatoon. Read this article, my dear brothers and sisters. She had a humble life, a small hut, a very small farm field that they had. It's not even a farm, it's just a piece of land. She and her husband, they would grow vegetables in that land. That's how they would support themselves. They were okay. They were not rich, they were poor, but they were fine. She has 3 children. Then the divine trial comes. A hurricane in 2009 strikes Bangladesh. Because this piece of land is close to the sea, during the hurricane, due to the storm surge, the upwelling of the sea, the water came into her village and destroyed the hut, destroyed the farmland, and they almost drowned. For 2-3 days, they were trying to hold on to the branches of a tree to stay alive. She, her husband, and her children. Her children, when they were interviewed, they said, we had to fight the snakes because they were also trying to find a dry place. Utter destruction in that place. As a result of her husband almost drowning and getting sick, he fell very ill. Now she lost the productivity of her husband. He can't help her. Because the salt water destroys the farmland, it poisoned it. She can't grow anything there. She didn't know what to do. She had only one hope to save her husband. She went to a clinic, to a hospital. They told her, we can try a treatment. He's going to die. He will die. There's one treatment that could save him, but it will cost $400. She didn't have the money. You know what she did? There was only one way for her to raise this money. She had to sell her 2 sons to a factory so they would work at that factory, I don't know how many years, for a decade. That was the only way she could save her family. The only way. Her parents died during that storm surge. She lost her parents. Her husband is dying. Now she loses her 2 sons. What a difficult decision. Because she couldn't support her children anymore. Go, at least at the factory, they'll give you food. You can survive. The reporter interviews one of her sons. You know what happens to her husband? She gets the $400. The treatment doesn't work. Her husband dies. She's lost her husband. She's lost her sons. The reporter interviews her son at the factory. He traces him to the factory. It's a little bit far from where they are. It's in the capital of the country. He interviews her son. He tells him, what do you do? He says, from dawn to dusk, I have to carry bricks on my back. He's 12 years old. I have to carry bricks on my back and take them to an oven where they cook the bricks and prepare them for shipment. He tells him, do you have a wish? He says, yes, I have one wish in this world. What do you think his wish is? What are our wishes? Is his wish to have a Tesla? No. Is his wish to go to a 5-star vacation? No. What's his wish? He says, I have one wish in this life. I want to see my mother. That's my wish. If you have a mother tonight, go kiss her hand. And feel blessed that Allah has given you a mother. And if she has passed away, pray 2 rak'ah and gift it to her soul. There are people in this world, their only dream is to see their mother. He says she's far, she can't afford to come and see us. She may come once every 2 years. Read this article. This is from real life. This is not a fairy tale. And we're, alhamdulillah, in a good state. We all have our problems. No one here doesn't have a trial. You could have a family trial. You could have a financial trial, a health trial. All of us are tried. But simply knowing what other people go through is very humbling. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken care of you. Don't lose that hope. Don't negate certainty with doubts that always attack you. Tell shaitan, tell your nafs, I'm fine, I'm okay, I have a Lord. I have a Lord who's much bigger than my problem. He'll take care of me, it's okay. This is the theological, psychological application of this law. It gives you peace of mind. Hold on to what you know and don't worry, it's okay. This universe has a Lord who's running it and He knows what He's doing. It's okay. Be patient and live the moment and don't think about the future. You know, one reason why people become suicidal or they become depressed is this excessive obsession with the future. What's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen tomorrow? Tomorrow's not your domain. It's with Allah. Leave it up to Allah. Do your part right now. You know, when you do an activity that you enjoy, like fishing, if you're going and fishing and you enjoy it, in that moment when you're enjoying it, do you care about tomorrow and next week and next month? You're not even thinking about it. Just live the moment. It's time to work right now. Get up and work. It's time to pray. Pray. It's time to help mom and dad. Help them. It's time to study. Study. Don't burden yourself with thoughts about the future. The future is the domain of Allah. It's not my domain. And you have the best Lord. And He'll take care of you. And even if you go through a trial, He's there with you. Hold on to that yaqeen. Hold on to that certainty. Finally, the family application of this law. One of the reasons why our family bonds fail, why we have problems, is because many times in one family we do not trust one another. Suddenly you start developing doubts about your spouse, about your children, about your parents, about your cousins. I've seen many cases of divorce. Many marriages fail because of doubts, nothing substantial. The husband keeps doubting his wife based on just suspicion. No evidence, no yaqeen, no certainty. He just starts to mistrust her. And that mistrust is what makes the marriage fail. And then they start spying on each other, monitoring each other's devices and activities. You know, some spouses, husbands and wives, they think it's okay to spy on each other. It's haram to spy on your husband or on your wife. Allah never gave you authority to spy on them. Allah says in the Holy Quran very clearly, وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا. Don't spy on each other. Don't spy on one another. What do you think this verse is talking about? You think this verse is only for the CIA and FBI? It's for me, it's for you, it's for our families. In Islam, there's only one type of spy according to the system of Imam Ali. I'm talking about Imam Ali's system. In Imam Ali's system, there's only one type of spy. And he tells Malik al-Ashtar in his letter, he tells him, Malik, I want you to appoint spies on who? On who? No, not the enemy. The Imam doesn't tell him the enemy, no. Spies on who? On people, citizens? No. Government workers. He tells him, I want you to put spies on government employees. Make sure they're doing their job. They're not abusing anyone. They're not exploiting anyone. They're not taking bribes. And the government of Imam Ali, that's the only category of spies that existed. Imam Ali did not put a single spy on the people. That's his system. That's the system of Imam Ali. Allah says in the Holy Quran, وَلَا تَجَسَّسُوا. Don't spy. On what basis do you spy on your spouse? That's haram. Allah has not authorized you to do so. Checking your wife's phone without her permission is haram. It's a sin. Allah will hold you accountable. Checking your husband's phone without his permission is haram. Your friend goes to the bathroom and they forgot to lock their screen. Yalla, it's the time now to go and see what this guy's up to. You violated the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This causes mistrust. This causes mistrust. Don't let these doubts ruin your relationship. You haven't seen anything bad from your spouse. Why are you doubting them? Yes, sometimes your family member is in imminent danger. Someone is playing with the mind of your son or daughter. They're taking them towards drugs, destroying their lives. Sure, you have to take action, monitor, see what's going on. Don't be naive. You have to know what your kids are up to. But don't base such decisions on mere doubts and suspicions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibits us from doing that. Have something that is based on facts. And by the way, our dear parents, if you want to monitor the devices of your children, tell them beforehand. Because if you surprise them, you will break that trust. They will not respect you. They will not trust you. Tell them. Be honest with them. When you buy them that gift, that iPad, that gadget, whatever it is, tell them, Habibi Baba, this is for you. It's a gift. I'm giving it to you. But I have the right to monitor you when I see fit. I'm your guardian, I'm your father, I'm your mother. I know what's best for you. I will monitor you when I see fit. That way, when your child catches you monitoring them, you don't break the trust. You've already told them. One mistake parents commit is when they don't tell their children, and their children find out, they lose respect for the parents. That's not appropriate. Just be honest, tell them. Don't negate certainty with doubts. Doubts about your friends, about community members. One rumor comes flying over here, and you quickly embrace it, and you act upon it. Islam says don't act upon any rumor. Don't act upon it. And if you're really confused, just back off. Don't get involved. Imam Ali alayhi salam has a very beautiful statement. The Imam states, Kun fil fitnati kabnil labun. In times of fitna, in times of confusion, be like a 2-year-old male camel. What does that mean? The most useless camel is a 2-year-old male camel, because its back is not strong enough for you to ride on it, and it doesn't give you any milk for you to milk it. لا ظهر فيركب ولا ضرع فيحلب. The Imam says in times of confusion, don't let anyone exploit you, take advantage of you, use you. Just avoid. You're really confused, you don't know what to do, don't take any action. Don't base your life on a series of doubts. That destroys our lives, my dear brothers and sisters. This is one beautiful message law from the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. لا تنقض اليقين بالشك. Do not negate certainty with doubt. The problem that happened at the time of Imam Hussein alayhi salam is that the people had certainty who he was. On the day of Ashura, the Imam wanted to clear any misconceptions. Do you doubt I am the only grandson of your Prophet in the face of the planet? Do you doubt that? Do you doubt my grandfather said Hassan and Hussein are the masters of the youth of paradise? Imam Hussein left no room for doubts, no room. He clarified the truth. But unfortunately, those people followed their evil desires. On this night, we commemorate the legacy of Imam Hussein alayhi salam by remembering his cousin Muslim ibn Aqil. This is the night that our hearts turn to this ambassador of Imam Hussein. The ambassadors of Imam Hussein have certain ethical qualities. Muslim ibn Aqil was known for his honesty. He's honest. He doesn't manipulate the truth, even if it's against you. The Imam chose him to go to Kufa to represent him before the Imam would go to Iraq. The Prophet ﷺ, he loved Aqil, the father of Muslim ibn Aqil. Aqil is the brother of Imam Ali. And he tells Imam Ali, he tells him, I love Aqil twice. Once because he's Aqil, I love him. And secondly, because his father Abu Talib loved him. And the Prophet loved Abu Talib dearly. He tells him, and he will be blessed with a son. His son will be killed supporting your son, O Ali. وَلَتَدْمَعَنَّ عَلَيْهِ عُيُونُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. The Prophet says the eyes of the believers will cry on Muslim ibn Aqil. He's a great warrior ambassador whom we commemorate on this night. Imam Hussein alayhi salam dispatches Muslim ibn Aqil, go. He arrives in the land of Kufa. Thousands of people come out, parading him, welcoming him to Kufa. Yes, we will support you. Some narrations state 18,000 people pledged him allegiance. Some say 25,000. He would lead the Jama'ah prayer, thousands of people praying behind him. So he quickly wrote a letter to Imam Hussein. Aba Abdullah, come to Kufa. Look at the people. They're willing to sacrifice. X number of people have given me allegiance. Ibn Ziyad then works to threaten the people, to entice the people. I'll give you money, don't side with him. I'll demolish your house, don't side with him. Through his evil system of rewards and punishments, one by one, those people who pledged him support, they abandoned him. Until that last evening came. Muslim ibn Aqil was in the masjid, he prayed the salah. When he finished his prayer, he looked back, he saw he's the only person in the masjid. No one else. At that point, his heart began to wrench for Imam Hussein. He felt the bitter experience of betrayal for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. But what can he do right now? Imam Hussein is on his way to Iraq. He did not know where to go that night. Things got so bad, Muslim did not have a house to go to. Allahu Akbar. Muslim ibn Aqil, he's now tired, he's now thirsty. He goes on the doorstep of the house of a lady called Taw'a. He's sitting at her doorsteps. This old lady, she opens the door, she sees this man. He's a stranger, she doesn't recognize him. She tells him, why are you sitting here? He tells her, I'm thirsty. She brings him some water. Moments later, she comes back, she sees him sitting. She comes back again, she sees him sitting there. Finally, she tells him, oh man, why are you sitting at my doorsteps? It's no longer permissible for you to sit here. I don't allow it. Go to your ahl, go to your family. When she tells him the word family, Muslim ibn Aqil with a broken heart tells her, Ya amat Allah, laysa li fi hadha al-Misr ahlun wala ashira. Aywa ghariba. He tells her, oh servant of Allah, I don't have a family. What family do I have here in this city? I don't have any family. يقلها وعين مستديرة لا أهل عندي ولا عشيرة غريب وأعمامي بغير ديرة ومثل حيرتي ما جرت حيرة أنا مسلم الفاجد نصيرة. I'm Muslim ibn Aqil. I don't have a family. I'm the cousin of Hussein. I come from the family of Rasulullah. Taw'a's shocked, surprised. She was a good, decent lady. She tells him, you're Muslim ibn Aqil? How is that possible? People betrayed you to this point? She tells him, you can come to my house. You can stay tonight. I'll give you a safe place. He goes into the house of Taw'a. That night she realizes he doesn't sleep. He's praying, he's supplicating all night long. Close to the morning, she tells him, Muslim, I didn't see you sleeping. What's happening? He told her, I slept shortly. I took a very short nap. I saw my uncle Ali ibn Abi Talib, and he told me, Al-Ajal, Al-Ajal, hasten, hasten. I think these are my final days. These are my final moments. My end is coming near. Allahu Akbar. Then those evil enemies, they discover that Muslim is hiding in her house. The authorities were tipped off by her evil son. She was a decent lady, subhanAllah, but she had an evil son who tipped them off. They surround Muslim from every direction. They tried to burn down the house, so he comes outside of the house. He's carrying his sword, and like the courage of Ali ibn Abi Talib, he's fighting them. But how much can he handle, O believers? People go on the roofs, they start striking arrows at him, rocks at him. They surround him from every direction. Then one of those enemies with his sword, he strikes Muslim on his lips. Allahu Akbar. He tears the lips of Muslim ibn Aqil. He begins to bleed. Then they finally capture him. They take him to the palace of Ibn Ziyad. Now he's extremely thirsty. He tells them, I'm extremely thirsty, give me some water. They give him a bucket of water. He tries to drink, but the blood that was gushing from his lips spoils the bucket of water. So at that point he realizes Allah doesn't want him to drink. Allah wants the same fate of Abu Abdullah for him. He's not going to drink that bloody water. He says, forget it, I don't want the water. They take him to Ibn Ziyad. Ibn Ziyad passes the death sentence. They take him on the roof of the palace. They told him, we're going to strike your neck and throw your body here. He told them, I have two requests. Ibn Ziyad tells him, what request do you want? He says, let me pray. This is my final salah. Allahu Akbar. Muslim stands up to pray his final salah. Ibn Ziyad tries to mock him. He tells him, whoa, you're praying so slow to avoid death. He says, I swear by God, this is the fastest salah I've ever prayed in my life. Don't think I'm scared of death. Okay, what do you want next? Which way is towards Mecca, towards Hijaz, where Hussein is coming from? Why? He looks at Hijaz. He says, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Peace be upon you, O Aba Abdullah. Don't come to Kufa. These evil people will betray you. Aba Abdullah, my wish is to convey this message to you. They strike the neck of Muslim, O believers. He falls. They drag his body in the streets of Kufa. Imam Hussein alayhi salam is on his way to Iraq when he sees a group of people coming from Kufa. They tell him, Hussein, do you know what happened in Kufa? He tells them, what happened? They told him, we swear by God, we left Kufa and the body of a Muslim was being dragged in the streets. Imam Hussein broke into tears. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Allahu Akbar. We've lost Muslim. Muslim had a daughter by the name of Hamida. Imam Hussein is her uncle. Imam Hussein said, call Hamida for me. What do you want, Aba Abdullah? Please bring Hamida, bring my niece to me. Hamida, the daughter of Muslim, comes to Imam Hussein. She doesn't know what happened. Imam Hussein tells her, sit, Hamida. Then with his blessed hands, he caresses her head. She feels the tragedy. She tells him, Hussein, my uncle, this is the first time in your life that you caress my head like that. Did something happen to my father, Muslim? Imam Hussein tells her, Hamida, I'm your father. And my daughters are your sisters. Allahu Akbar, what a difficult moment. I conclude with this statement. I say, Aba Abdullah, when Hamida learned that her father was killed, she had a compassionate figure like you to embrace her, to comfort her, to caress her head. But do you know what happened to your daughter, Sukaina, Aba Abdullah? Before Imam Hussein went to the battlefield the last time, Sukaina called on him, Father, please come. Imam Hussein told her, Sukaina, I just farewelled you. What do you want, my dear daughter? Please come down, I have a request. Yes, Sukaina, Habibti, what do you need? She tells him, Father, please put your hand on my head and I want you to caress my head just like you would do to the orphans. Because in an hour when you'll be killed, no one will be there to comfort me. Allahu Akbar. She broke the heart of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون.
قتل الحسين بكربلاء قتل الحسين بكربلاء وحسينا 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 وحسينا. Everyone together. وحسينا 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 With you, Hussein, I am alive. With you, Hussein, I am alive. Without you, Hussein, I can't survive. When everyone leaves me, I always know you'll stay. way. You're my only friend and I want it to stay this way. Thinking of your sorrow, the pain that you went through, I say this honestly, I can't live without you. Ya Shaheed ibn Shaheed, Ya Gharib ibn Gharib, Ya Shaheed ibn Shaheed, Ya Gharib ibn Gharib. Sallallahu alayk Ya Hussein, Ya Shaybul Khadib, Ya Hussein, Ya Mawla, 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 Ya Mawla, Ya Hussein, Ya Mawla. In Karbala, for truth he died. Only on God Hussein relied. You died so we can learn that truth will never die. You died so we can learn that truth will never die. The message of Hussein, on God we only rely. 1400 years has passed, but you still remain. لبيك يا مولا, لبيك يا Hussein. 1400 years has passed, but you still remain. لبيك يا مولا, لبيك يا Hussein. يا شهيد ابن شهيد, يا غريب ابن غريب. Everyone, يا شهيد يا غريب ابن غريب. لك لبيك حسين سيدي يا شيب الخذيب. يا حسين يا مولا, يا حسين يا مولا, يا حسين يا مولا, يا حسين يا مولا, يا مولا, يا حسين يا مولا, مولا Hussein, God's greatest sign. My dream is to die in your shrine. When I remember you, I think of all the spears, the swords and the arrows, and all your daughter's tears. When I remember you, I think of all the spears, the swords and the arrows, and all your daughter's tears. Thinking of your head, the tears that Zainab shed when they burnt the tents down, and when Rughayya fled. Ya Shaheed ibn Shaheed, Ya Gharib ibn Gharib. Ya Shaheed ibn Shaheed, Ya Gharib ibn Gharib. لك لبيك حسين يا شيب الخذيب. حسين مولاه 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 مولاه حسين مولاه حسين مولاه حسين مولاه مولاه حسين مولاه حسين مولاه ابو فاضل 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 عباس ابو فاضل ابو فاضل ابو فاضل عباس ابو فاضل ابو فاضل صلى الله عليك يا مظلوم يا ابا عبد الله وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون وصلى الله على محمد وآل محمد.